Alrighty, so apparently actor Terry Crews was on The View last week, and he had some controversial things to say about fathers, of all things. Let's see what Terry had to say that pissed off women on Twitter and had Whoopi and Jenny McCarthy feeling some type of way. Alright, so Terry Crews was on The View, and he said some things that gave Whoopi and Jenny McCarthy some hot flashes, and he angered some females or people via Twitter or social media. But basically, he simply just stated that there are things that a father can give a kid that a mom can't do. That was the gist of what he stated. Even though he didn't back down in that estrogen enhanced environment, he didn't back down. But I don't think he articulated points well enough. He didn't do enough to state those things that men can do that women can't when it comes to rearing a child. And it points back to the video I did before, how we demonize black men for their absence, but we praise black women for their choices. And this is another situation where these women are trying to make the point that men are not a valid or important piece of a puzzle for a child to be developed. He simply stated something that was real, like there are things that I can do that you can't do, and he had to say the vice versa, even though it didn't matter. So and the funny thing is, Sherry Shepherd, I guess she's a Jehovah's Witness. Sherry, I had a lot of abortion Shepherd. She's a Jehovah's Witness, or was, I don't know. So when it comes to some of these issues, she doesn't lean to the left, right? She does seem to respect family values and all that, even though she had a bunch of abortions. She does understand that parents are important. They need two and all that stuff. But if you listen to what she stated, she kind of went off. Like she didn't totally agree with Terry. And I noticed that with her, she'll have a position, especially when the cast was like Barbara Walters was there, and they had a bunch of like other leftist guests, females, whatever. She would kind of like dumb down or change her opinion or appease them a little bit. Like she would, just get weaker. Like she'll start off strong, but by the end of the debate, she's in the closet, and she does that again. Because Terry Crews said there are things that a father can do that a woman can't, and then Sherry at the end says, well, there are those things that the father can give a kid that a woman can't. We have to do it, which is not Terry's point. Terry's point was you can't do it. So she, was no help either in the situation. I like how at the end of the conversation too, Whoopi goes and says, "This is what we think Terry's trying to say," and I hate when females do that in conversations. When you make a point and you're clear and you articulate it well, and they go back and say, "Well, this is what you're really saying." Like, no, he said what he said. He said that there are things a father can give a kid, boy or girl, that a mother just can't do. And of course, he had to throw in the vice versa. But these women were not buying it. They were not trying to hear that. Then you have Jenny McCarthy, and I'm assuming that her kid's father is Jim Carrey. That was her husband, at least. And I'm almost positive he's, involved in his son's life. I'm almost positive he's doing those things that Terry's mentioned. He's not abandoning his kid. So she's going with the narrative that, well, I'm a single mom and I'm doing X, Y, Z. And I noticed this trend of trying to blend, divorced mothers, widows, with single mothers by choice, right? It's like they're trying to make them the same, and your situation is not the same as a female who got pregnant by somebody she was probably not even in a relationship with, and the father has no contact with the child, and she feels that she has to, she can't technically, literally, play both roles, whatever. There's a difference between that and you who were married, especially to somebody who's wealthy, and you get a divorce, and you live in different houses, but you probably most likely are co-parenting, and the things that Terry was mentioning, I'm positive Jim Carrey is doing to his son, or you would be having his face all plastered over the media for being a deadbeat and all that stuff too. So I don't get her trying to say that she's doing those things when her son, if it is Jim Carrey's son, I assume it is, I don't know, is not involved in his life. Again, it's not a right-left debate, right? But as we see in the media, leftists are the ones who promote the idea that men are irrelevant to raising children. But at the same time, they'll be quick to, when a situation comes out bad and the kid doesn't come out, good, it's the father's fault for not being there. And I don't understand how both these essences can be at the same time while we excoriate the men for not being there, not being productive, and not being available. But then we tell women, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You didn't need to do it anyways." Like that doesn't compute for me. I could have respected Sherry's comment if, because she alluded to a friend of hers who has a son, and she watches the way he raises his son, and she pointed out something that was logical, how when her son cries, he babies him. When that guy's son cries, he tells him to dust it off and get up, right? So I could have respected if she would have said something along the lines of, well, those are things that I just can't do as a woman because I'm just too emotional. And someone needs to be sturdier and stronger to deal with those situations. Not, I would respect it if she said, well, I bring my son around him, or I let my son play with him, or be around his father because he's teaching his son the right things. I could have respected that. But she goes into this narrative of, no, us women, we have to do those things. But she even admitted herself that she doesn't do that when her son gets a boo-boo or whatever. She babies him when he gets hurt. She cries too. She doesn't, she's not strong in that situation, right? She admits that she doesn't do it in that particular example, but then she goes and says that, us single moms, we have to do those things that we're not biologically capable to do. Like, that's like a dude saying, I have to be a nurturer or whatever to my kid because the mother is not around or whatever. I think most men will admit if they fail at something, they're going to have to bring a female around to fulfill that role because they can't do it. Or they understand there'll be something lacking in that kid because they don't have that balance. But I don't know. Same situation though. Publicly, women are promoted as not needing men, but we shame men for not wanting to be around or just being absent. And you can't have that continue to go on. One's got to give, one's got to go. I wish Terry Crews would do more commentaries like that, especially, you rarely see. I dislike when he does all that silly stuff and stuff like that. Like, he's too damn big to be doing that fugazi stuff he does. But I think I do respect when he comes on, especially in an environment like that, and he stood his ground, he didn't back down. But it's like, it shows you what happens when men do come forth and men are they're leading, right? They're doing the things that women say we want men to do, particularly in context black women saying that they want black men to do. And then as soon as he does it, look how quick he shut down. He said something so simple and so rational, but yet he got, criticized being the media for what he said. And that brings to my point, which is a different video, is that women claim they want these strong leaders and these strong alpha type males to make decisions and do all this stuff. But that's bull. They want him to do that in subjection to them. They want him to do that underneath their authority. And men are not going to do that. They're not going to build, like Sergeant Willie Pete always says, brothers are not going to build a platform or an infrastructure only for females to control it. It's not going to happen. But I would like to see him do more commentaries like that. I think he needs to go sit down with Ann Carter for a little bit, let her school him on the statistics and the stats, because she would have killed them all. She's already done it before on The View. But